Good day guys, I'm Mini War Painter. In this video I'm going to share with you another way how you could choose the perfect colour schemes for your models. I'll cover this as I show you how I paint the face to my Exalted Sorcerer. I'll catch you after the intro. Allow me to introduce to you the process of finding references to your colour schemes. I stumbled across this idea whilst I was checking out one of my favourite Instagram accounts, The Secret Workshop, where he showed us how he came across the colours he used for his Sister of Battle. The method simply requires you to obtain an image that displays the tones that you're interested in, and with the use of photo editing software, you can obtain an efficient presentation of your colour tones without the distraction of the surrounding colours. Allow me to demonstrate. After researching some colour schemes suitable for the face of my Exalted Sorcerer, I decided I wanted to go with a light dusty purple tone with a saturated blue flush to his face and a teal source of energy surrounding his eyes. I was happy with how I would achieve the blue and teal colours, but the dusty purple was slightly more difficult. So I found this image of an Exalted Sorcerer painted by the Heavy Metal team and thought the purple tones on the arm were what I was looking for. So using the free photo editing software called GIMP, I opened the image and selected the pixels with the tones I liked, and painted a large spot of each one on a black background in order to simplify matters for my eye to see. After that, it was a case of consulting my paint box and wet palette to find the perfect match to my references, which in this case was a mixture of Slaanesh Grey and Ulthuan Grey. Now let's get on with some painting. Part 10. The face. Just to update you, I've already painted his hood, using colours that I've used in his cape, along with some dark purple tones towards the bottom of the hood, just to make it appear more interesting. In this video I'm going to be focusing on his face, painting it more of a dusty purple but with blue and teal tones to help grab the attention of the viewer. So to begin with, I mix a 3:1 mix of Slaanesh Grey and Ulthuan Grey. But soon decided it wasn't dark enough, so I added another blob of Slaanesh Grey. In this video I'll only be focusing on his face, as I'll paint the horns in my own time off camera. With a couple of layers applied to the face, I'll now begin highlighting the facial features, starting with a 1:1 mix of Slaanesh Grey and Ulthuan Grey. Ideally, this face provides a reasonable amount of prominent facial features to work with, so I'll look to apply my highlights to his forehead, cheekbones, nose, upper and lower lips, jawline and chin, being careful not to allow any paint to fall in the deep creases of his face. With the first stage of highlighting complete, I'll begin adding more and more Ulthuan Grey to my Slaanesh Grey until I'm using pure Ulthuan Grey. So in this next step, I'm using a 3:1 mixture with Ulthuan Grey being the more dominant colour in the mix. Being sure to dilute the paint with enough water to help improve brush control, I'll now highlight the exact same areas, only this time I'll make the effort to leave some of the previous highlights still showing. I'm now using pure Ulthuan Grey to highlight the tips of each feature. With the face highlighted up, I'm going to take the highlights to the next level by mixing in some white scar. The reason I'm highlighting close to white is because soon afterwards I'm going to start glazing my blue and teal tones in and around the centre of the face, which will then bring down those white highlights. With that stage finally completed, it's time to do some glazing like I mentioned earlier. Normally, with a typical human face, you'd glaze in reds around the eyes and nose to simulate that natural flush appearance that develops around the face. But to simulate that here, I'm going to apply a blue glaze using a 3:1 mix of Ahriman Blue and Baharroth Blue. Being sure to add enough water to achieve that translucent appearance. You can gauge the translucency of your glaze by applying some to your thumbnail. With this glaze, I'm going to apply it in and around the nose, eyes and mouth where the face naturally flushes. This also provides a contrast in temperature, making the focal point of the miniature far more interesting to look at. When glazing, make sure to leave enough time in between coats for the previous coat to dry, otherwise you'll end up pulling apart the pigment. After applying that blue glaze, it's left the highlights on the face a little off balance. So to fix that, I'll simply apply a layer of my last highlight, which will help tie in the blue tones with the purple tones nicely. With that completed, it's time to glaze in some Sybarite Green around the eyes, in order to discover that warp enchanting aroma that the Thousand Suns are famous for. Then, once dry, I'll now begin highlighting the teeny weeny details amongst the eyes with Gauss Blaster Green, which will then be followed by another highlight of White Scar. This was so fiddly to achieve, I think next time I'll just sculpt him some sunglasses instead. With this now finished, I wasn't quite satisfied with the saturation of the green eyes, so I went at it with a glaze of Warpstone Glow to help bolster the green glow I was looking for. With that layer now dried, I was far more happier with the result, with the green eyes appearing far more saturated in colour. Moving on to the mouth, I painted this with the same colour I used to base his hood, Screamer Pink. Finally finishing the face off with painting those pearly white teeth with White Scar. This would have been far more easier to achieve if the white paint I used didn't keep drying on the end of my brush the moment I got close to the model. Done. With the face completed, my Exalted Sorcerer finally has an enchanted focal point worthy of a warp mutated, powerful loyalist of the Crimson King. And that also concludes this series of tutorials on this Exalted Sorcerer, as I've now attached his cape and finished painting his horns and the fallen scum of rust that now resides under the Sorcerer's boot, where it belongs. So I'll leave you now with a few shots of the finished model, letting you know that I have 3 more Exalted Sorcerers with their own unique features, that I'll be looking to share with you in the future on how I'll be painting them. Enjoy! Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you've anything to add, please don't hesitate to comment down below. If you're on Instagram, you can find me at miniwar_painter. Here you can follow my progression, as I like to post regularly on my stories. Don't forget to subscribe and don't be shy to mix those paints. Ta-ra!